It's the traditional Christmas dinner, but have you ever given much thought to where your turkey comes from? Farmer Matt Carter is giving his customers a very clear insight, offering them the chance to not only hand-pick, but feed, look after and name their turkey all before it's slaughtered for Christmas.
As you can imagine, this initiative hasn't gone down well with vegans who have accused him of being a murderer and a psychopath.
Oh, we've had a lot of people take us up on the offer, and then we also had a lot of people who were violently against us, and they didn't want us to do it, and they wanted us to take the post down. And then we had a graffiti across the front of the doors of the farm shop. People should know where their meat comes from, and if you're going to buy meat, then why not know that it's come from an ethical farm that's well looked after, and the turkeys have been free range and had a good life.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, go for it.
Of course.
What do you mean by ethical exactly?
Well, being well looked after, they're free range. They're slaughtered humanely and looked after the best way possible.
What is a humane slaughter? Exactly.
Well, in the most stress-free possible.
What does that entail?
Well, it entails killing the turkey. But there's no other way of getting your Christmas dinner without killing the turkey.
Just out of interest, how do you kill the turkey? Just genuinely curious.
You slit the turkey's throat.
Okay. I do think
so is there any
possible.
point that you agree with here?
At first, obviously, I was a bit like, this is kind of psychotic because, you know, this is the kind of way that you would treat a pet.
Well, you did actually say anyone who names their turkey, anyone who goes onto that farm and does that is psychotic.
Yeah.
I guess one of the biggest aspects of sociopaths is that they don't have empathy, right? And that was really emphasized, how they could do anything and get away with it. They manipulate, they deceive. Sociopathy or antisocial disorder is not something, is not curable. It can be treated, but it's not curable. It's very, very difficult because of the level of manipulation that a lot of sociopaths exhibit as a part of their characteristics because of how their brain is functioning. Like an antisocial personality disorder, because they don't feel empathy, you know, they don't feel these things, so what's the point? You know, that could be a line of thought. They're not human. I don't have antisocial personality disorder, so I can't say I know what's in their minds, but it's kind of like, it's also sad for me. They can't really enjoy the simple things in life, the little things in life that bring me joy, like my cats. Like, what kind of societal advantage am I gonna get from adopting cats? Not much. They cost a lot of money because, you know, they're living things. They won't help me make more money. They are not gonna get me better jobs or whatever could get me power, but they just make me happy. They bring me joy.
I sympathize to some limited extent with the fact that vegans go around reproaching meat eaters as psychopaths and sociopaths, but it's bad and it's wrong and you gotta learn to stop. And not just because it's politically incorrect. I'm of the informed opinion that psychopath does not describe a scientifically valid, medically real condition. But if it did, would you divide humanity into two classes, psychopaths and non-psychopaths, and then have a different message about veganism and meat eating, one of which applies to the psychopaths and one of which does not? Like, if you have a whole bunch of guys working in a slaughterhouse together, and some of them are psychopaths and some of them aren't, and you really believe psychopath is a medically real, scientifically verifiable condition, like, in theory, you could have these guys pee in a cup, and you could test the urine and be like, oh, this one's a psychopath, this one isn't. Guess what? The ethical message of veganism is exactly the same for both of them, so it makes no difference. So even if it's true and valid, it's irrelevant. Now, as it happens, it's not true and valid. What you're doing is confusing an ethical judgment with a psychological mental health judgment, which is, you know, bad and wrong for reasons both obvious and somewhat subtle and profound, right? If my point is that what you're doing is immoral, the last thing I want to do is say, you are mentally handicapped. And that's why you're doing this immoral thing. Now, it makes even less sense when you're claiming 95 to 98% of humanity is mentally handicapped. And we've all been through this before with narcissism. People start defining narcissism so broadly that 95% of people are narcissists. People start defining depression so broadly that 95% of humanity is depressed. And we have these kind of pseudo-medical psychological notions. And they soon envelop the whole wide world. Finally, by keeping things firmly within the province of ethical judgment, we also keep them subjective, even if it's intersubjective. Like we're saying, hey, this is my subjective judgment, this is your subjective judgment, this is my cultural bias and background, and this is your cultural bias. Let's figure out where we stand and what the truth is, what our responsibilities and obligations are, but we all know it's subjective, as opposed to the phony objective realm of modern medical science. We keep it subjective, and the absurdity is, you look at these people, one person, their definition of sanity, this woman I have a clip from, her proof that she is sane and compassionate and loving and that she's not a psychopath and she's not a sociopath, is that she owns cats. She keeps cats as pets, and that's her proof that she's a good person. And that she's sane, unlike these psychopaths. She's pointing the finger at. This is a professional therapist. She doesn't just see nothing wrong with taking an obligate carnivore and cutting off its balls, declawing it, removing its reproductive organs, male or female, training it not to live as a solitary predator in the forest, but to live as a plaything on her couch and on her carpet, and then killing cows, buying the cows cut up and crammed into a little metal can, and spooning that out for this obligate carnivore to eat. The whole relationship between human being and cat, and her description of the love she feels and the gratification she gets, she's presenting this with no sense of humor, no joke, none, zero irony. She's presenting this as proof positive of her sanity. And from my perspective, it's like, lady, you are indicting yourself as something, well, let's not say it's insane. Let's just say it's immoral. But yeah, it's baffling and it's incomprehensible to me. And then the other contrast you guys just saw is someone advancing the idea that they're a morally good and pure and caring person because they take the time to pet and coddle and care for and give a name to a turkey, to treat a turkey like a pet before they slit the turkey's throat, kill it, and eat it. And from one side, this is proof positive that, quote-unquote, you're a psychopath. And from the other side, it's proof positive that they're caring and compassionate, that they're a better person than someone who did none of those things. So, guys, this is the realm of ethical values and completely subjective judgments, and has nothing to do with the murky modern medical science of deciding who's a psychopath and who isn't. And however it is, we're going to make progress in the vegan movement. It's not going to be through misanthropy of one kind or another. It's not going to be through hating humanity itself. It's not going to be by coming to the conclusion that 95% or even 100% of the human race is comprised of psychopaths.
Dun, 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 dun.